Welcome ladies and gentlemen to the 36th installment of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links Best Deck series. Today I'm going to be showing you a deck purely based around Gem Knights. So just before the video starts, I'd just like to say Gem Knights as an archetype currently in Duel Links don't seem to be that competitive. It's not a very strong deck to be playing if you're looking to try and climb or just generally go up the ladder. It's something that you'll be playing for fun if you enjoy big powerful fusion monsters and that kind of stuff. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so the best character for this deck is Gardner with the skill Duel Standby. This skill makes each player's starting hand increase by 1 card. So the reason this skill is the best is because it's normally the best when you're trying to play with fusion monsters. It was the same when I made the Gemini deck a very long time ago. It just means that it's much easier to fusion summon monsters when you have more fusion material cards in your hand and more chance of getting that polymerization. You want to be able to fusion summon as quickly as possible, and without having a lot of fusion material monsters in your hand and without having a polymerization in your hand, that will be really hard to do. Especially with a deck like this where you want to be able to fusion summon multiple times because it has multiple ways of doing it. It's really bad when you can only do one fusion summon and not be able to fusion summon the next turn afterwards or during your opponent's turn. The other skill that kind of works in a way similar is maybe Restart, which simply just means you may have a higher chance of getting the perfect hand that you want. But again, that's going to make it pretty hard to fusion summon on turn 1, because you're relying on having just obviously a perfect hand. And then again, even if you do have the perfect hand, it's still going to be hard to fusion summon multiple times. Alright, now take a look at the deck list. This deck contains 3 Gem Knight Lazuli, 3 Gem Knight Tourmaline, 3 Gem Knight Garnet, 3 Polymerization, 2 Fusion Recovery, 2 Mirror Wall, 1 Wall of Disruption, 3 Pyrexian Fusion, 1 Gem Knight Master Diamond, 1 Gem Knight Prismora, 2 Gem Knight Citrine, and 1 Gem Knight Topaz. So the first thing you might notice is that in my Gem Knight picture, I don't actually have 3 Gem Knight Garnets and have another random Gem Knight. Don't worry about that, I just don't own the 3rd Gem Knight Garnet yet, and I couldn't really be bothered opening more packs just for that one card. The deck is certainly much better with a 3rd Garnet, especially considering I think of all the fusion monsters of the deck, Garnet is probably the most important. The second thing I'm going to point out is there's 2 Mirror Walls and 1 Wall of Disruption. These cards can be swapped around as much as you like for any backline cards you want. Preferably I prefer 2 Mirror Walls and 1 Wall of Disruption, but you can have 3 Wall of Disruptions, 3 Mirror Walls, 1 Mirror Wall to Wall of Disruption, whatever you like. And the last thing I'm going to point out with the deck list is I think Gem Knight Citrine is the most powerful or the most useful of the Gem Knight monsters, especially when it comes to using Gem Knight Master Diamond's effect, which we'll talk about later. So that's why there are 2 of him as opposed to 2 of any of the other ones. Alright, now I'm going to talk about the strategy of the deck and basically how it functions. So basically the main aim of this deck is to get Gem Master Diamond out on the board. But before doing that, you want to do as many fusion summons as you can possibly do. So the main reason you want to do this is Gem Knight Master Diamond's effect. What this effect does is it allows you to banish any fusion Gem Knight monster from your graveyard, and that effect of that monster will then be transferred to Gem Knight Master Diamond. So now, rather than just having a 2900 attack beta with the effect of gaining 100 plus more attack for every card in your graveyard, it will now be a 2900 attack beta with any other fusion monster's effect from the Gem Knight archetype. So the abilities you want to be trying to get onto Gem Knight Diamond are from Prismora, Topaz, and Citrine. All 3 of these cards have a certain effect that are really good for Master Diamond. Citrine's effect is kind of like how Ancient Gears work. It allows you to be able to swing without having to worry about your opponent's backline, as they cannot activate cards when you're attacking, or even when your card is being attacked, they won't be able to activate quick play cards, which is also very useful. This is probably the most powerful effect of the Gem Knight cards, so if you want to do a fusion summon first, I normally recommend Citrine first. The next card I'd recommend fusion summoning before is Prismora, as this card allows you to target one face-up card on the field and destroy it by discarding 1 Gem Knight card in your hand. So it becomes really powerful if you've got monsters you can't kill that your opponent has, or if they have some really annoying field spell or some really annoying continuous spell. This card can be very useful to deal with that kind of stuff. And the last card is Gem Knight Topaz. Now this card is only for trying to kill your opponent in 1 turn. This deck does have a 1 turn kill that you can perform using it, and you'll see that one in the gameplays that I show later on. What Topaz does is basically it will allow your Gem Knight Master Diamond to attack twice, as it during the battle phase, this card can attack twice. It also has the added effect of if it destroys one of your opponent's monsters by battle, your opponent will take battle damage equal to the attack of the monster destroyed. So most of the time the Phyrexian Fusion is the card that you will combine with Gem Knight Topaz to kind of get the one-hit kill, so I'll talk about that later on when I go through Phyrexian Fusion. But just so you know, Topaz you don't really want to be summoning that often unless you know you can get a one-turn kill. Alright, there are 3 monsters in this deck that are used for the fusion summons. There is Leslie, Garnet, and Tourmaline. Tourmaline is used for the Thunder type monsters, and Garnet is used for Citrine. So all of these, plus all the fusion monsters, can be used to summon Master Diamond, as he just requires 3 Gem Knight monsters. Gem Knight Leslie is probably the most important card in the deck, as when you use it to do a fusion summon, it doesn't use any fusion material. What I mean by this is, when you use it to do a fusion summon, you'll have the same amount of materials as when you started. This is because if you do a fusion summon using Leslie, you will then be able to add one of the fusion material monsters back to your hand afterwards. Therefore you'll have one of the fusion material monsters in your hand, plus the new fusion monster on the board, so you won't have used any materials other than the polymerization. This effect can also be really useful when summoning Prismora, as it will also allow you to have an extra monster in your hand to use with Prismora's effect. There are going to be 2 ways you're going to be fusion summoning, polymerization and Phyrexian Fusion. What polymerization does is it allows you to send monsters from your hand or the board to the graveyard to fusion summon a monster. This can also be done using Phyrexian Fusion, which does the exact same thing. The main difference between Phyrexian Fusion and polymerization is you can't use Phyrexian Fusion immediately, and Phyrexian Fusion can be used during your opponent's turn. Phyrexian Fusion can also be used during your battle phase. This is what makes the card so powerful and what gives the deck the possibility of a one-turn kill, as it allows you to attack with a monster, activate Phyrexian Fusion, fusion summon another monster, and attack again. This card is also very good at baiting out your opponent's removal spells, as you can have it face down on the board, wait till your opponent's turn, then when they target one of your monsters, you can activate it, use that monster that has been targeted as part of your fusion summon, so therefore they just wasted their removal on something that got to be used for a fusion summon anyway. Fusion recovery is in this deck purely because, as I said earlier, you want to do as many fusion summons as possible before summoning Master Diamond, or even you may just want to do one fusion summon and have enough resources to summon Master Diamond directly afterwards, which is why Fusion Recovery is in the deck. What Fusion Recovery does is it allows you to target 1 polymerization and 1 fusion material monster that was used for a fusion summon from your graveyard, add them to your hand. And the last 2 cards in the deck are Mirror Wall and Wall of Disruption. Both these cards are just in here as defenses for your lower attack fusion monsters and your Garnets and Tourmaline if you need to keep them on the board because you don't have enough to summon Diamond yet. Most of the time you'll find you'll be using these when you don't have a polymerization in your hand. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the talking part of this video. If you want to see how the deck functions and stuff, we'll have gameplay at the end of the video which will show this deck in action. Thank you guys for watching. If you've got any suggestions or any other comments, please leave them down below. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Duel.